They've got videotape, and all of a sudden they don't. You know, you have the director of the FBI on the show saying there's no. If there was, nothing you're looking for is on those tapes. Like what?
These aren't the tapes you're looking for.
What did they say? There was thousands of hours of tapes of people doing horrible shit. Why did they say that?
Right.
Didn't Pam Bondi say that?
I'm getting really concerned here at this point because the flip-flopping and the 180 and the going back is just the biggest train wreck I've ever seen.
Trump's comments about his daughter are creepy.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
I was one of the great beauties of the world, according to everybody, and I helped create her.
Who?
Ivanka. My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body. Yeah, she's hot.
I know you want to move past all this intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your attorney general told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen of that?
No, it's not the attorney general. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years.
Yeah.
Christopher Wray and these characters, and Comey before him. And
Chris Wray and Comey? CIA and FBI had from your term? What are you talking about? From term one, dog, what are you talking about?
it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected.
Democrats are good for nothing. Damn. Can somebody link now the Lex Friedman tweets calling out Trump for his insanely divisive rhetoric?
You're slapping a W on all the bullshit. He hasn't even had any official trade deals, and tariffs had negative effects long term. Tariffs will have negative effects long term. Okay, well, we've already had negative effects of not having tariffs, so I would... say that doesn't really matter. And then also, so if you're saying that those other things are bullshit, I don't think they're bullshit. I care about those things a lot. And so, I mean, if you think that I'm wrong, that's fine. Oh, here we go. There's more.
They've got videotape, and all of a sudden they don't. You know, you have the director of the FBI on the show saying there's no. If there was, nothing you're looking for is on those tapes. Like what?
These aren't the tapes you're looking for.
What did they say? There was thousands of hours of tapes of people doing horrible shit. Why did they say that?
Right.
Didn't Pam Bondi say that?
What, are you talking about Epstein or did
Yeah, Epstein.
Yeah, she's.
Which one?
That it literally, I think a week before you had the FBI director sitting here telling you there was nothing, right?
Yeah. She said something about that there was like thousands.
She said straight up. She said straight out, plain out, absolutely, that they confiscated thousands of hours. Yes.
Of hours of tapes of people doing horrible crimes.
There it is. And didn't the FBI dude say that there was nothing?
The FBI dude.
Cash Patel said there's nothing you're looking for. Oh, okay.
That's right.
Okay. Oh. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to push back.
Right. No, of course,
obviously.
Was that it on tariffs? I don't want to watch the rest of this.
Well, he's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in and extended him.
Remember, if Biden said this, everybody would call him senile. There needs to be like a collection of Trump senility tweets, like a profile, an album of... The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier. The lying 51 man, he really just brings up every motherfucking thing. 10 years old, he's still bringing this shit up. The laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. And even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker.
I'm getting really concerned here at this point because the flip-flopping and the 180 and the going back is just the biggest train wreck I've ever seen. And it's not in character for you to be acting like this. So we want your agenda to succeed. I've done deep research. Never saw you involved with Epstein and criminal activity. So why are you acting like this? You made a deal with the establishment to leave you alone, and they rolled over. U.S. intelligence we know is involved. Mossad, CIA, MI6. We already know that. But instead, you just continue to say nothing to see or move along. Though go ahead and release information, but there's no information released. Contradiction to contradiction. Flip-flopping to flip-flopping. 180s on 180s on 180s. Jesus, I'm on a roller coaster here. And then, oh, it's only fake news is concerned. Oh, like MTG and Tucker Carlson and myself and Joe Rogan and the American people. This is something that finally got our attention. People finally woke up to this. People finally understand, a window of the deep state with all this. And so you signing on to this and flip-flopping is just self-harming. I mean, please, President Trump, stop. If you want it to go away, just be quiet. It's like there's a gun to his head saying, you better come out and say, no, this exists, or we'll release it. It's bad. It's getting worse by the minute. And I support you, but we built the movement you wrote in on. You're not the movement. You just surfed in on it. And I'm telling you, man, the Democrats, we know are pure evil. My God, they promote pedophilia and everything openly. So why the hell are you acting like this? Please stop now.
Johnson, this is sort of on the heels of something else that a lot of people are asking questions about. And because we've been lied to by our federal government for so long.
Bro, if you're gonna... This microphone is gained so loudly. This is like 65, 70 decibels of gain. Listen to how much echo it's picking up. On this microphone should never be happening. Who set this White House studio up? Unreal.
Lied to by our federal government for so long. I feel like there's some type of like there's a pain point, right? And a pressure cooker that gets heated up on issues like the Epstein issue, right? And obviously that's something that's taken over a lot of the online dialogue.
Yep.
I have a question here about it that concerns either testifying or testimony for Ghislaine Maxwell, potentially before Congress, or if you would support...
They're eating the lists. They're eating the files. True.
Members like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Anna Paulina Luna on the release of subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support either of those.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Marjorie or...
Wait, I'm sorry, what? Who's going to subpoena the files from the DOJ? Are they going to subpoena the files from themselves? Are you talking about doing a civil suit? What?
Before Congress, or if you would support members like Marjorie Taylor Greene or...
Well, I guess Congress can issue subpoenas as part of congressional investigations, but what, the Republican Congress is going to fight with the Republican DOJ? What the fuck are we even talking about here?
Luna on the release of subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support either of those.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Marjorie or Anna about that specific subject, but I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. Look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job.
A team of his choosing?
It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it. I mean, the White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. And you know, apparently,
Ghislaine. I'm never going to get her name right. Ghislaine wants to testify. I don't think that they would ever let her testify if you were a Republican, because think about it. There's nothing that she could say that will be good for the Republicans. Let's say she comes out, she says, listen, there is a client list and here it is and blah, blah. If they are actually hiding anything, it's because it's incriminating to them. If that's happening. If there is a list that's being hidden, okay, if there is some evidence being hidden, which I don't think there is, because I think it would have come out under the Biden admin. I feel like somebody would have leaked it or said something, or they would have pressed for something. That would be my guess. But if there is anything, it's not coming up because it would be bad for them. So she couldn't say anything. She couldn't say anything there. And if there's nothing, that would also look bad for them, because now it looks like they just lied about shit for 4 years. So like, why would they ever let her publicly say anything? All it would do would hurt them. You know, it would just be damaging to the Republicans.
Pam Bondi, I don't know, when she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents. As I understood it, they were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved so that they can deal with violent crime and public safety and election integrity and going after Act Blue and the things that the president is most concerned about, as we are. So I'm anxious to get this behind us.
Judicial Committee hearing. that would be most likely the committee where a Ghislaine Maxwell would testify. Would you be in favor of that?
Absolutely. Remember what I said about the resonating through the different media echelons, right? Benny Johnson, a guy who got paid by Russia through an illegal intermediary in the United States, has a podcast show in the fucking White House where he gets to interview some of the top lawmakers in the Republican Party. It's just unbeatable.
What would testify? Would you be in favor of that?
Absolutely. Yes. Of course, we want answers. No one is satisfied with what has been received or lack thereof. No one is satisfied with the rollout of this. Of course, we've heard that Dan Bongino is not satisfied with the rollout of this either. And, I think you hear time and time again what an honorable stand-up man Dan Bongino is. President Trump, he obviously thinks highly of Attorney General Pam Bondi. I don't know her personally, but I know Dan. And he's a wonderful man, and I have no reason to doubt him. And I think moving forward, we need a special counsel. That has got to happen. There has to be a special investigation into this if we aren't going to be provided information. Now, there's a lot of things that Attorney General Pam Bondi is doing well. Of course, President Trump is doing many things well. The FBI is doing a great job. Our Department of Homeland Security is, this mass deportation machine on steroids, and now they have the funding to go after it even more. But this is something, I hope it doesn't become a false idol to Republicans where we just lose sight of everything else. But that doesn't mean we don't want answers. There are plenty of good things to focus on and still more that we need to do to really get through the next 4 years and hopefully the next 8 years in a Republican majority, God help us, God willing. And so this is certainly important, and I want answers. And maybe that takes that special counsel to do so. Maybe Matt Gaetz can lead the special counsel.
Would you vote in favor of that?
Absolutely. Yes. Matt spoke highly of Pam Bondi and saying, that she's the best attorney general that President Trump has had. But yeah, Matt Gaetz as a special counsel, absolutely.
Plus, Matt could help probably more than investigation than anybody else. Like if they tried to delete the files or whatever, and they're like, fuck, we only have like the first 4 digits of this phone number. Gaetz could just check his contact list and be like, oh, wait, hold on, I know this one. Like, I got to write in my phone book.
Look, if there's something we can do to minimize Ghislaine's involvement, I'd appreciate it.
Ghislaine.
Nothing. It's just unfair because she really plays no role. And Ghislaine has never...
Why does he almost look like the Boganoff? A little bit?
Never, ever a part of any of this stuff.
There's a lot of verticality to this head.
Turned out not to be, truthful. That she was involved in procuring women. The whole thing's ridiculous. I'm willing to take the heat for, the situation I've been involved in. She's already fragile. I think innocent people...
I came to this interview on my free will. No, there was nothing promised to me for doing this interview.
Excellent.
Yes, everything that I say at this interview will be the truth. I met Donald Trump at some parties I attend that I was working for Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. There was about 3 or 4 times that I had encounters with Donald Trump. I was 13. The first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion.
Hold on. Is there a court filing with this same affidavit? Or is this a video that she recorded talking about this, and this is not in a court filing anywhere?
We were...
Log into Kicklit, the bot isn't active. You keep saying that, but I don't know what that means. I logged into Kicklit before and nothing happened. Or I don't know what you want me to do. There has to be something more that you want me to do. Kicklit. I'm logged in. Now what? Dashboard. Do I need to make the guy join again, or?
There was an orgy going on, and he was was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. There was an orgy going on, and he was kind of watching off in the distance. And he basically asked if I could come over and give him a hand job. And at first, I wasn't very comfortable with it. This was like my first party, and I didn't think that was my responsibility. But my recruiter told me that I needed to do it, so I agreed to. And then he, I began to. Sorry, this is a little difficult, but before I gave him a hand job, he kind of slapped my hand away and said, "You need to use a glove." And the recruiter ran over and handed me a glove and said, "No one touches Mr. Trump's penis without a glove."
The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was forced to engage in an unnatural lesbian sex act. Well, aren't all lesbian sex acts unnatural by definition? With her fellow minor and sex slave, Maria Doe, age 12. After this sex act, both minors were forced to orally copulate defendant Trump by placing their mouths simultaneously on his erect penis until he achieved orgasm.
gloves. So I needed to use a glove. I gave him a hand job, and then immediately after, he had an orgasm, he left, and I didn't see him again at that party. Jeffrey Epstein is a billionaire friend of Donald Trump's that...
I just watched your recent debate with Myron. You guys have great chemistry. If you guys did a Red Pill, Blue Pill podcast, I think it would be crazy successful. Yeah, fuck, maybe. I like I said, I like Myron as a person. I think, it's like actually incredibly fucking pathetic to say, but I think Myron is like the nicest or the most like stands on business kind of person I think that I've ever met in the industry. He just believes in a whole bunch of crazy shit. My conspiracies.
Was responsible for throwing the sex parties. There was, I originally came to New York trying to be a model, and in my travels, I met a girl named Tiffany there who...
It's clocking. Is it not clocking to you that he's standing on business? Do you think that like celebs make up new like slang in the background or in their personal lives, and then they try to use it in public to see if it catches on? Or wait, is this a thing that Zoomers say? Or is it alpha? I don't even know.
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
Okay.
Was very interested in me and said that that's what she did, is that she helped girls get what they wanted, and she could help me get into modeling. That she knew a lot of people that were higher ups, and that it would be no problem. And so that's why I would just basically have to come model at a couple of events and meet some people. There would be no sweat. So of course I went. That sounded like no big deal. And she was recruiting the girls to come to these parties. And they all looked, most of them were, my age. There was, maybe a couple girls that were maybe 14 or 15, but it seemed to me like we were all very young, so. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein knew that I was 13 years old. When he interviewed me, he asked me to get down to my bra, just my panties, and I thought that was weird, but modeling, maybe it was something about my figure. And he asked that I get...
Do people that get into modeling start at 13? Like actual modeling? Or I feel like your body wouldn't be... Like, I know height and everything and growing is important. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm talking about real modeling also. I don't know how you guys are saying yes, but I'm not talking about people that post pics on Instagram or in fucking reality TV shows. To be an actual model, supermodel or whatever. But they might. I don't know. But I don't know how many of you guys know. I don't believe that all of you guys know. I think you're just spamming shit because you're fucking retarded.
Give him a massage. So and then he asked me my age. He asked me, and I told him, I told him that I was 13. I told him why I was there. And he basically said, well, you'll do. I'm sure that...
Stop. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business. Fuck, I fucked it up.
You'll fit pretty nicely here. And then he tried to basically slip himself inside of me. And I pushed him away, and I said, I'm... Because at that point in time, I still believed that there was models, and then there was the girls that did that. I thought there was a separation. So, I told him that I wasn't interested in that, but he said that I would do. And as far as Donald Trump, he knew that I was 13, and I believe that Tiffany told him. He seemed to take a liking to me because I was I was so young, and I was also a virgin. So I don't know. It seemed like he wasn't really into having girls that were liked by the other guys. He kind of, the whole glove thing. He kind of liked things to be his first. If that, for lack of a better term, but he was the one who wanted to get to a girl before everyone else did. Donald Trump knew that I was 13 because the first night that I was there, Tiffany actually suggested that she had a whole bunch of different wigs, and I expressed interest in them. I always told her that I would love to walk around with blue hair, and so I tried some on, and there was a blonde wig that she said that looked great on me, so I wore that wig. And Donald Trump had specifically asked about me because I remind him of his daughter, and she said, well, she's 13 as well. So he knew the first time that he saw me, but he took a liking to me because I look like his daughter. And the reason I'm coming out now is when it happened originally, I just wanted to forget about the whole incident. And when I saw that he was running for president, I felt that it was my responsibility to come out and tell our country what kind of man this person is. I don't think that he should even be the dog catcher, let alone running the greatest country in the world. After I met Tiffany at the bus station, she took me to, basically went to her house, her apartment, and got ready. I put on a blonde wig because it seemed fun to pretend to be someone different, but we went to the party that I was basically interviewing for, and Jeffrey Epstein was the one that was running the party. He had a quick meeting with everyone that was employed there, and then he had a private interview with me. The first time that I met Jeffrey Epstein, he did try to force himself inside of me without getting the go-ahead or anything. And then it was probably about the third or fourth party is when he basically force. It was another massage, and it was basically like, it wasn't sex, but there was penetration, and I told him that I didn't want that, but he kind of got a little irritated. So I don't know. There was something about him that I guess I kind of held him I held a lot of resentment towards him. By that time that happened, I kind of already.
I don't believe any of this. I need Okay, one thing that I'm like ultra sus on now when I see is I don't ever believe this anymore. Whenever someone says, however, these legal efforts face significant hurdles, the cases were ultimately withdrawn or dismissed for technical reasons, rather than on the merits of the allegations themselves. Every single time I've read this thing, technical reasons, it's always a massive cope. And usually what technical reasons means is it didn't survive a motion to dismiss in the pleading stage because the complaint was whack as fuck. Or it was an inappropriate jurisdiction and there was no reason to even bring the case there, or it was for insane charges that would never, like civil cause of action that would have stuck. This happened a lot over the Trump, election stuff over 2020 when they kept trying to sue in different states and they're like, oh, we only lost on technical reason. Bullshit. One thing I'd be curious about, or sorry, I shouldn't say I don't believe this. If this happened, did she have any evidence of any of this? It doesn't have to be evidence of getting raped, but a 13-year-old that was subjected to all of this in 94, she must have been talking to friends, or there's got to be text messages or emails or something. When she turned 18, it would have been 99. She would have been, I'm trying to think of when we started texting, 2004, 2005. She would have been 22, 23. Would she still be talking about it with anybody ever? I feel like there would be other people that could corroborate stuff going on. Maybe there is. Maybe she's laid it out. Or are there plane tickets flying to this place? Or yeah, is there any evidence of her even being there? I'd be curious to see any of it. I'm just. Find the court stuff? It's just an affidavit, though. There's nothing attached. Where was this in 2016? This affidavit was signed in 2016, dated April 26, 2016. So why is it Ghislaine or how do you pronounce this chick's name? Hold on. In jail if the Epstein stuff is fake. I don't think that all the Epstein stuff is fake. I think he probably banged at least one underage girl. And had them trafficked or whatever. I need to see what her
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine
protected Ghislaine from taking on any.
I don't remember what she was charged with, actually. It had to do with trafficking, right? Because she was bringing girls to him. I don't think, all of it was fake. Okay, you know what I really want to do? Call her G-Max. People have these, heuristics that they use to figure out, if things are true or false without knowing anything about the subject matter. And sometimes these are good and sometimes these are bad. But I feel like I have stumbled upon a few that are actually pretty good that work in a lot of cases that should work. And this is the one that I call it has to do with effect size or magnitude, right? I kind of picked this up during the Ivormectin thing. If there are 100 studies, okay? Hold on. Okay. Let's say that there is let's say that we measure a range of values, okay? And it's between here and here. All right. This is our range. And then let's say that the range is 2 to 4, okay? And then let's say that our, what would we say? Confidence interval is 95%. What's the difference between confidence interval and p-value? Basically, I think if the confidence interval is 95%, that means that the true value of whatever it is you're measuring has a 95% chance of being within this range of values, right? So like if the null was 0, your default assumption was like no effect, right? And then you were able to do a measurement of a whole bunch of data, and you're like, okay, here's my range is 2 to 4, confidence interval 95%. I've got a statistically significant value, right? Statistically significant because we can say with a high degree of confidence that we have measured a value that is outside of this null hypothesis, right? Okay, sorry. So let's say that we're measuring like how many inches can some pill add to your dick, all right? So we measure the pill, and we find that the pill is the default assumption is 0, okay? And then we measure the pill, we take a whole bunch of measurements of guys' dicks, and we're like 95% sure it's within this range of increase for inches, okay? Cool, adds 2 to 4 inches of your dick, okay? Let's say that there are 100 studies, and all of them, okay? Let's say that there are, this is not what confidence interval is. It's actually, I think I explained this before. There's actually a more better way, or technical way to explain that, and I think I just gave the wrong one, but I don't remember the right one, so it's close enough, okay? Suck my dick. You know what? We don't do close enough here. You're right. Confidence intervals and levels are frequently misunderstood, and published studies have shown that even professional scientists are misunderstood. Okay, 95% confidence level does not mean that for a given realized interval, there's a 95% probability that the population parameter lies within the interval. This is the one that I just said. That's not true. A 95% confidence level does not mean that 95% of the sample data lie within the confidence interval. That's not true. 95% confidence level does not mean that there's 90% parameter estimate. For example, wait. Okay, the confidence interval can be expressed in terms of a long-run frequency in repeated samples or in resampling. Were this procedure to be repeated on numerous samples, the proportion of calculated 95% confidence intervals that encompassed the true value of the population parameter would tend towards 95%. The confidence interval can be expressed in terms of probability with respect to a single theoretical yet to be realized sample. There's a 95% probability that the 95% confidence interval calculated from a given future sample will cover the true value of the population parameter. Jesus, okay, whatever, close enough. Translate? No, what I said is close enough. It's not technically accurate, but it's close enough, okay? Listen, it's like Newtonian mechanics over here, all right? Okay, but, all right, when I talk about like one heuristic that I use, all right, one heuristic that I use to figure out if I believe stuff that's coming out that's exceptional or not, one heuristic that I use has to do with like effect size or magnitude. So, for instance, let's say that there are 100 studies and all of them show like data that looks pretty similar to this, okay? Where you have like all of these different studies are coming out and they all kind of like show, you know, like 95% confidence interval, like they all show like this stuff, okay? Then let's say one study comes out, and let's say this one study that comes out, okay? Let's say that one study comes out and it says, well, we've actually measured like, because we use like a new sampling technique, we measure something right here, okay? Now, if this comes out and they have a statistically significant, meaning 95% confidence interval, a high, good p-value that rejects a lot of these earlier studies, and the effect size or magnitude is a bit higher or a bit lower, so it's a little different than what was stated before, this is really good research and it points us in a new direction and it's really valuable and it's worth looking at, I think, okay? There's no reason immediately to doubt this, okay? However, an issue with a lot of extraordinary stuff, so like the hydroxychloroquine and the ivermectin stuff runs into this, is when you have a claim that you have all this research that points here, and then somebody comes out and they're like, well, actually, my study is, boom. The immediate assumption is, oh, you fucked up. Because it's not even that you found something new. It's that, how did you find something new that was so far off of what all the other research is pointing towards. You need an extraordinary data set, an extraordinary study, something that is extremely replicable. You have to have some huge thing to stake such a huge effect size difference, a huge magnitude difference from what all the established research says. So this is the big issue with a lot of the ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine stuff. When people were coming out and saying, oh, if for ivermectin, if you take ivermectin, it actually is 100% a prophylactic against ever developing COVID-19 if you contract the SARS-CoV-2 virus. 100%? Really? How could something with an effect size of that big, of a magnitude of that great, be completely missed? How is that possible? Now, if you would have said something like, well, it might reduce like overall illness time by, 12 to 24 hours, statistically significantly measured. Okay, maybe. Well, we can look into it. But when the effect size is that big, it's like, I don't know. All of that to say, sorry. If Donald Trump was doing child rape orgies in 1994, none of this has come out anywhere. I've never really heard any other allegations like this ever. That's just an insanely out of the norm accusation, I think. It's just not clocking to me that she's standing on business. I don't know. That would be why I would say, okay, fine. Like, I'm not saying there's 0% chance, but damn, we need some kind of evidence here. At least like fucking plane tickets or something. Can we at least put her on the island? Has that been released anywhere? Maybe. I just don't know why it wouldn't be on the site. But yeah, I don't know if anybody has it. I mean, I wouldn't say that there's like 0% chance of this, but Trump also kind of sort of seems to me, okay, now I'm not saying only the cool kids are fucking kids, but he kind of seems like a fucking nerd loser. Like, he kind of seems like an actual, like a little bit of an aspy, like nerd fuck. Like, this is a guy who's like, I don't believe in drinking or doing any drugs because I don't want to ruin my sober mind, and I don't want to. And he calls news stations pretending to be his own publicist. Like, everybody knows. Like, he's kind of a fucking nerd. I don't know. I just don't envision him being at these fucking orgies with 13-year-olds. But who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe Trump wasn't into young girls before he became attracted to his daughter, and the age of his interests has tracked to her age. Trump's comments about his daughter are creepy. I would agree with that. Donald Trump says women are his vice.
How would I advise you flight attendants?
I think she's hired.
He's doing the lean forward thing even now? Jeez. How old is this?
You're hired.
Yeah. I don't know why it matters that he's an aspy nerd. So is Bill Gates, and he seems to have partied with Epstein. Not saying he did anything else. Also, he's a famous New York businessman. Partied with Epstein. That could mean a lot of different things.
Very interesting. A beautiful girl who was 17 or 18 applied to be a waitress. She's so beautiful. She's like a world-class beauty. Like the young lady who just asked a question about the actress. She's so beautiful. And my people came, she said, look, Mr. Trump, she has no experience. So I interviewed her anyway, because she was so good. And I said, let me ask you, do you have any experience? She goes, no, sir. I said, when can you start? You can work on my plan anytime. Hey. See, now, if she worked on my plan, that's like a death wish for me, right? That's like an alcoholic. I have many friends here. People that are alcoholics, you put scotch in front of them. It's like, this would be my form of alcoholism. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Like, this is a guy who would have paid to porn stars, okay? Let's be real now. Okay?